Madison Grace was 21 years old and completely homeless. Her mother had struggled with severe bipolar disorder and schizophrenia her entire adult life, battling demons that no medication or therapy could fully tame. Madison had spent her entire childhood watching her mother cycle through devastating depressive episodes, manic episodes filled with dangerous behavior, and terrifying psychotic breaks where her mother didn't recognize reality. She had become her mother's caregiver at age 8, her therapist at age 12, her emotional support system at an age when she should have been carefree, playing with friends, and enjoying her youth. Her father had left when Madison was 5 years old, unable and unwilling to cope with the chaos and unpredictability of living with someone experiencing constant, severe mental health crises that made normal family life impossible. Madison had spent 3 years living on the streets of Seattle after aging out of foster care at 18, sleeping in shelters, under bridges, in alleyways during cold Pacific Northwest winters that brought rain and darkness that lasted for months. She worked minimum wage jobs, cleaning office buildings at night, working at fast food restaurants, doing yard work, doing anything to survive and not starve. She saved every penny she earned, every dollar, denying herself basic comforts to accumulate her meager savings. She dreamed constantly of having a safe place, a sanctuary where she could finally feel protected and heal from the deep trauma of her childhood and the crushing pain of her current homeless situation. She dreamed of a place where she could finally rest without fear. Then she found an unusual listing for an underground bunker near Seattle for $2 at a county property auction. The bunker was a Cold War-era relic, built in the 1950s as a fallout shelter and survival bunker for government officials and important people. It had been abandoned for decades, completely forgotten beneath the city streets of Seattle. The government wanted it gone and off their books. They were willing to sell it to anyone for $2 just to remove it from their records and their legal responsibility. Madison had been saving money carefully for nearly a year, working extra shifts and living as cheaply as possible. She had exactly $2.30 to her name, every penny hard-earned and carefully preserved. She used $2 to buy the bunker at the county auction held in downtown Seattle. A kind courthouse worker helped her navigate the paperwork and legal processes. 2 weeks later, she received the official deed in the mail. The underground bunker beneath Seattle was now hers. Before we continue, if stories like this mean something to you, hit subscribe. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love seeing how far these stories travel. When Madison first descended into the bunker, navigating the darkness carefully, she felt like she was entering another world entirely, a different reality separated from the Seattle streets above. The heavy steel door was rusted and corroded from decades of exposure but still functional. The concrete stairs descended deep underground into darkness, away from the rain and cold streets above. The bunker was dark and musty, filled with decades of stale air and abandonment and decay. But as her eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness, Madison could see the structure of the bunker clearly. There were multiple rooms, storage areas with shelves, a small living space, kitchen facilities, bathroom areas, ventilation systems still intact. This had been built deliberately to protect people from nuclear fallout. This had been constructed as a sanctuary. She spent the first week exploring every corner of the bunker carefully, mapping out its layout and assessing what was salvageable. She found the main reinforced room with its thick concrete walls designed to withstand nuclear radiation. She found the storage areas with their metal shelves still standing upright after decades. She found the small kitchen and bathroom areas complete with original fixtures. Everything was covered thick in dust and decay, but the structure was solid and strong. The concrete was strong and hadn't cracked significantly. The metal doors still worked mechanically, camouflaged deliberately as part of the bunker's structure to blend in perfectly. The lock was old but secure and appeared undisturbed for decades. Madison worked for hours to get it open, using tools she found scattered throughout the bunker, carefully trying different approaches. Finally, with a heavy metallic click that echoed through the bunker, the safe opened. Inside were metal boxes. Heavy metal boxes filled with gold bars. Pure solid gold. United States government-issue gold bars from the 1950s, stored here as part of secret Cold War contingency plans for government survival. Each gold bar was stamped precisely with government seals and weight specifications indicating their authenticity and purity. Madison counted them methodically and carefully. There were 47 gold bars in total. At current market prices for precious metals, the total value was approximately $1.8 million. $1.8 million in pure gold hidden in an underground bunker beneath Seattle for over 60 years. Madison sat on the cold concrete floor and wept intensely. She thought about her mother, about the unbearable pain she had endured, about the countless years she had spent caregiving for someone whose mental illness consumed everything around it. She thought about sleeping under bridges in the rain. She thought about going hungry and choosing between eating or saving money. She thought about being invisible on the streets of Seattle. She thought about how close she had come to giving up on life entirely. And now, in this underground bunker, she had found a fortune that would change everything about her life forever. She held her head in her hands and cried deeply, releasing years of accumulated trauma and pain and exhaustion and grief. Over the following months, Madison began the careful process of selling small amounts of the gold through legitimate channels and professional dealers. She was careful to avoid drawing attention from authorities or suspicious people. She worked with professional precious metals dealers who handled the transactions discreetly and legally. She used the money carefully and strategically, not spending recklessly. She rented a small apartment. She bought healthy food. She saw a therapist weekly. She began genuinely healing from the years of trauma she had endured. She used more of the gold to restore the bunker completely. She hired workers to clean it thoroughly, to repair the ventilation systems, to make it safe and livable. She installed new lighting systems and heating systems. She created a comfortable living space deep underground. She transformed the bunker from a relic of Cold War fear into a sanctuary of peace and safety. She decorated the walls carefully. She brought in plants and grew a garden. She made it beautiful and comfortable. Madison enrolled in college at the University of Washington, studying psychology and mental health advocacy intensely. She became determined to help others who had experienced what she had experienced, being a caregiver for a mentally ill parent, carrying the weight of another person's suffering, losing years of childhood to unpredictable mental illness and crisis. She established a non-profit organization dedicated to supporting families affected by mental illness. She provided counseling, financial assistance, and safe housing to people in crisis situations. She used her wealth to help others who had felt as alone and hopeless as she had felt. She created support groups. She funded mental health research. She became an advocate for better mental health care. Today, Madison is 24 years old. She lives in the restored underground bunker in Seattle, a sanctuary she had dreamed of finding. She runs her non-profit organization helping hundreds of families. She has transformed her trauma into purpose, her pain into meaningful mission. Madison Grace was 21 years old and homeless when she bought an underground bunker for $2. It was the best $2 she ever spent. Because what she found there was not just gold bars and precious metals. She found healing. She found purpose. She found proof that even in the darkest places, treasures are waiting. If you believe that our greatest pain can become our greatest purpose, subscribe to this channel.